Jack Martin, number 21, 11 matches in 2021. What do you say? It was unlucky. He obviously got hurt early in the season against Collingwood in round 2, right at the end of the game. And, it was a PCL injury, then nasty. And, obviously he came back and contributed, and he wasn't terrible. But obviously at the end of the year, I personally felt like we just couldn't get, or we didn't get the best out of him this year. And there's obviously mitigating factors, and having such a layoff and coming back into the fold and playing games when the rest of your competitors and your teammates have been playing the whole time. Obviously, he was always going to be behind the 8 ball. And, what do you put it down to? Is it just luck? Or in this case, unluck? I don't know. But with Jack Martin, I have a really firm belief in him and his ability. He, showed us in his first game with us what he can do, and hasn't quite reached those heights of that game since. And, he's in the real hot spot of his career, I would think. He's 25, 26 years old. I think with Jack, at the moment, I'm seeing 13 touches a game. And it's not all about disposals. I understand that. But there is an element of, because he's so good and because I rate him so highly, we've got to find a way, or he's got to find a way collectively together to get the ball more and impact more. I find that when he does impact, it's in patches, not so dissimilar to Samo. Very patchy, can have a 5 or 6 minute spell where you think, wow, this guy is something else. And, we've spoken about his physicality, his toughness. Upon first glance, you might not necessarily think that's what his game is built around, but it is. He's a ferocious competitor, and there's a level of maturity I think that needs to come now, and he's got to find a way to be more consistent, and obviously back him in to do it. He hasn't quite been able to do it just yet in his career. I'm not sure if he's had a season really where it's clicked all year, and he's had the continuity and the form has been consistent, but it's really about time to see it. And barring injury, I would expect that 2022. There's no reason why he shouldn't be having a career best in terms of preparation pre-season, and obviously the output for the season next year. He's an important part to what we do, and he really is the perfect forward mid player, and there is probably something in that as to why Samo wasn't playing that role, because we've got a Jack Martin type. I don't know, maybe they can both do it. That's really the flavour when I think about Jack Martin. You just left wanting a little bit more, because it's all there. Like the whole package is there for us to see. Now, what's the plan? I really don't know. Is it for him to be a midfielder? Is it for him to be a forward, or is it to stay as someone that does both? I'm not sure. I would assume he's going to be rotating in that forward and mid, and I would assume that we're going to continue to do that. But at the time of filming this, Vossi's there. We've now got Aaron Hamill, but we don't know who the rest of the coaching panel are, so we don't know the plans. I believe his best footy is forward of centre. I'm not sure about him in the midfield full time. I think it's more of a forward with spurts in the midfield. I think the position where he plays right now, it's pretty much bang on. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens, and we've got to see what the philosophy is and how it's going to be carried out. I really do believe he can become a leader of the club. Obviously we've got quite a few Indigenous players at the club. Eddie Betts is now gone, and I guess my observation is that Eddie Betts was like the elder or the uncle, like that figure at the club who really galvanised not only the Indigenous group but the entire group. And I would hope that Jack Martin slots into that. I think he speaks very well. And I would hope to see a little bit more comfort with him as a Carlton person, because he's now been at the club for a couple of seasons, and I would hope to see, more of him and more of his growth, as a person come out, and obviously on the field as well. I mean, this time next year, I'm hoping to be looking at his season at a glance and seeing, something like 16 to 20 possessions a game. If he slots in right there, we'll say 18, split it down the middle. If he's getting the ball 18 times a game on average, I feel like we're a much better side just from that notion alone. So that's really where I look at him, but it all just comes down to the work. Like I've seen things on Instagram, like some stories from the other players that film him and sort of take the piss out of him a little bit in that they say, oh, it's the first time I've seen him lifting weights. I'm not sure how much truth there is to that. I'm not sure if I'm reading into things, but he definitely needs to have a layer of physical conditioning where he's stronger and he's lifting. I would hope that that's what he's working on. I don't know if it'll hurt him to put some size on, but again, I also don't know what the program, that he trains with is. So I trust whoever's there, whoever is employed as a professional to get that right. But ultimately, he's just got to find a way to be available, because a guy that takes 5.5 marks a game is important. He tackles hard. I would like to see him tackle a bit more. He averaged 2.4 a game in 2021. So that's definitely got to rise up to, I'm looking at someone like him. I don't see any reason why he can't average 4 to 5 tackles a game. I really think he's that kind of player. I think in my mind, I picture an 18 possession per game, 1.5 goals per game, 5 tackles per game, 5 or 6 marks per game type player. Now, whatever that looks like, remains to be seen. But that's kind of the vision that I have for Jack Martin and what I think the next level for him is to reach. So that's how I see it. What about you? How did you find watching Jack Martin in 2021 and shed some light on the role, and how do you think we can get the best out of him for next season?